Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back again. Gonna work on the truck some more. Just had some delicious lasagna, so it's awesome. It's time to get started with mapping. I really hope this doesn't crash it, because sometimes it does. It didn't do anything. Mapping pages. Thank you for doing it now. So anything that's going to be a different color. Well, let's see. The only things I did last time that might have been different colors were those. So I'll move this over here. Do that. And scroll in here. I think pack custom is what I want. I honestly never can remember. Let's try this one just to see what they do differently. Well, okay. I guess okay, I know what I need to do. I need to do that. There we go. Now when I do this, it should work out properly. There we go. Drag these off. And then those objects, we'll do this too again. And finally, this once more. It looks like it left some room in here for me, which is perfect. I can just scale this down. And scale this one down some more. I need to remember which one's on the top. That's that, and okay. I think I got that. And everything else should be fine. Bolts and nuts, they could be a different color. I'll do that. Actually, I have a better idea. It's a little faster. That. That. And that. That. And that. And then I'll have to do the other things over again. And nothing can overlap, so I'll set this here. Select all of that. Hold Control while selecting those. And that. And just make sure that I've got everything. I think I do. If I move it, yeah, I've got everything. Okay. I've got this, so it's gonna overlap, isn't it? That's okay. I can just move it out of the way. So these, I think I just need to move it over a bit. And you know what, I'll scale it down slightly so I can get it to fit in here better. That I can deal with, that's good. What else needed? UV mapping. All of the suspension components. The frame. I think that's it. Oh, hey Tanner. that depends. If you let me finish up with just UV mapping this, I might be able to help you with that. Like, what do you mean though by setting up your suspension? Are you just wondering like how to set up bones? I can't type on my phone. I'm trying to type a text out. There we go. PVW, throw it under the skin. And okay, I see. Sorry, one second, I can't see my screen. My fridge turned on. I didn't want to edit envelopes or any of that. I've never actually seen Stetson's guide, so but like, explain to me what it is that you already know. Like, have you? This is a tandem axle setup, front and rear. So, like, is yours? Do you have a bone on each axle and a bone kind of in the center? I don't know, what does Stetson use for animating? I should ask that first. Okay, select everything. Apparently it is. Interesting. Okay. That map, do not rotate. Yeah, it rotates anyways. Whatever. On the springs, everything's good like that. He uses 3ds Max? Okay. PVW. Well, I can explain to you, if you want, how things should be set up, and I can kind of go over with you quickly on how to do it. I'm just gonna finish this. Anything that I think should be different colors in here? The U-bolts. Alright, cool. Yeah. That's also what I use. I kind of preferred 2015, although this does fix a few errors. It has some others, but it's still okay. Open UV editor. Range. Put that over there. Range. Okay, so now this needs to be scaled down. To export the model, you'll need a .x exporter. The one I use is Allen DirectX exporter, free. It does have a paid version, but you don't need to get it at all. There's nothing useful in the paid version. Alright, cool. And that's all you'll need for plugins. So my suspension setup's probably different than yours, but I normally have my suspension setup. Okay, cool. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so one thing you'll need to do is, one thing I noticed with the Allen exporter is you need to have the UVW underneath of the skin, otherwise the skin causes issues with I think it's underneath. Lord. Okay, let me save this and I'll open up my other one just so I can clarify. Yeah, so you want the UVW underneath of the skin, otherwise it causes issues and the textures all get screwed up. So that's one of the first things. So the skin is going to be the animating modifier that you put onto each suspension component. I like to have my suspension done in 2 components, 2 or more normally, if necessary, that is. So all these components, when you look at the wireframe of it over in this corner here, basically if I go ahead and edit envelopes and I select by vertex, you can see that there's vertices on this edge and vertices on this edge, and all of these move with the wheel, all of these move with its wheel, and then these ones here don't move at all. Yeah, so if you have a solid axle in the rear, then it'll kind of work like this, except you can just ignore this entire half. So you'll need, for a solid axle, 2 bones, and I don't know if you know what those are or not, but you just create them by going up here, create systems, and then bones. I have mine set up so the width is 0.18. That's just so you know what direction it's pointing in. Then you need to make sure they're as straight as possible, because this game will straighten them out and they'll put it in a 90-degree rotation. So if I had it, like, let's say, rotated differently, and I had my suspension like this, the game, as soon as it puts it in, is going to straighten it out, and it might end up looking like wonky like that. So now I'll go back to this. The way I have this set up is my springs and then this, and the reason why it is because I have a whole pile of different sections along the spring, so it needs to be animated smoothly, where this I don't. I've only got like this moves with the wheel and this doesn't. So this is really easy to do by vertex, and all you do is add the skin, add your bones that you created, select it, and you'd scroll down, like select the vertices of one that'll move with your wheel bone, this one here. So with this bone here, yeah, you will want your springs separate from the axle. At least that's how I do it. It makes life easier in the end. Yeah, so I'll select all of these vertices here, and this is the bone for that, and so I turn this thing in the weight properties, it says abs effect, I'll turn it all the way up to 1.0. It goes from 0 to 1. 0 means it's not going to move with the bone you have selected. 1 means it will. This dead bone, I like to call it, the second bone that you'll need, can just be placed like above the... so you add the skin onto the axle, and then you can create the bones. It doesn't matter when you create them. But here, I'll go through, I'll delete my skin off of here, and I'll completely go through it. So I have my UVW map here, right? That's the last thing I did. And then I'll skin it. So, and I'll go and actually delete these 3 bones, I think. No, that'll screw with my other skin. So you can go through, I'll just create one just for the sake of it. When you create it, you'll want to make it is dead center as possible to the axle, and it doesn't matter where you place the back half. So you click once and then you let go and it'll keep going like this. You move your mouse back until you see this line is as flat as possible. You click again and then it starts to create a chain of bones, and you just right click to stop, and then you can delete the second bone that it made. And that's how you create the bones. After you create one, you can just shift drag to move it into the next position. So for the rear, you could just take the bone that you created here and shift drag it up above to create the dead bone. So the dead bone, when I go to skin this, I'll explain. Let's add a skin onto here. Okay, I don't need edit envelopes. Now I'll click add. Choose all the bones that I've created. And then I'll do edit envelopes. In this case, because I'm doing the he already has a bone inside the axle. Okay, then that's perfect. Does he have a dead bone or a second bone for that axle? Okay, so you want to create one. You can just click on his bone that he has created, shift drag it up. So for the axle, and the shock absorbers normally can work like this too, because they're normally pretty low poly. But so in the skin, you select vertices and you uncheck envelopes and cross selections. This is only for the like the axle part, the one that has a yes or a no basically if it's moving with the wheel. So I've selected these vertices after, and I'll go down, and I want to make sure that I'm on the bone that's set up for this axle, which I am. I'm on bone 1, and I just turn this abs effect up on it. Now I'll select the second axle, scroll down, I'll scroll back up, and select bone 2, and then make sure that the abs effect is turned up all the way to 1. Now you can see how there's these other these other vertices here, these 8 vertices that I haven't touched. And in game, if I don't have this dead bone, this third bone for me, for you it'll be your second bone. If you don't have a dead bone, these aren't being told to not move, because everything has to have an opposite to it. So if this bone here is saying that this bone doesn't control these, and this bone is saying that it doesn't control these vertices, well, what controls those vertices, right? Well, nothing. Like, you can't have nothing controlling them, so they'll just move up and down with the axle. So to stop that, you create the third bone, which for me is bone 6, and you select those and you turn it up on that one. Bone 6 won't actually ever be used in the XML, which is why those vertices don't move. And I'll run through and do the back. I'm sorry if I'm rushing ahead also, but if you need to, you can always like skip back or something like that too. It's yeah, I still have a pile of stuff that I want to do on here, so but now I'll choose I'll do the rear axles quickly. So I selected bone 3, which is the axle for, well, the bone for this axle, and turn the abs effect up on that. I'll select bone 4, which is the rear axle, turn the abs effect on that, grab these center ones, go to bone 5, which is the dead bone. Alright, thanks man, I appreciate that. And yeah, so that's that. And I'll quickly show you how I have set up these springs. because I have more vertices in here, it would take forever and a half to do it by vertice, right? Having to select each one of these and go in between and figure out exactly what weight I need to set that to. So instead, you keep vertices unselected, you keep envelopes and cross selections on. If I go to the front, you can see how I have this set up. So I can move this bone around. It's got 2 points, well, the envelope, and you can see the colors change based upon where I move this. Red means it's going to move with the axle, and then closer it moves to blue, the less it moves with the axle. And you still need to have a dead bone, so I have bone 6 here that is encompassing these. So these red ones on the dead bone aren't going to move with the axle. Alright, so now I've got all this stuff set up. I'll just quickly check that I didn't screw anything over here. That works. That works. That works. And that works. Okay. So I did the frame. Let's open the UV editor. That's all good. And I did that. That's all good. Did I do the axles again? I must have. Yes. Okay. Cool. All this stuff is done. Let's double check. I should have only changed the suspension frame. It appears like that. So I'll save. I'll export. Combine tools, yeah. Export. Yes, okay. I have Google Hangouts. I typically don't use Skype. I've also got Discord, but Google Hangouts is most likely the place to contact me. And for that, let me just my username will be Kingman. It's kind of like it's a picture actually in Spintires of some screwed up mods, kind of at like dusk in the desert. Steam, I don't add other people on normally other than friends, so if you don't have Google Hangouts though, or don't want to use it, because that's understandable. Most people hate Google Hangouts. I do have my Discord, and I can create a chat. I can't guarantee though that I'll be able to help like very often, but I'll be able to help you this once at least. Or if you want to, you can message me on the UV forums. On Hangouts, it's spelled like that. But if you want, the UV forums might be easier. It's a lot easier to find me. But alright, yeah, that works. Yeah. Okay. So what else did I want to do now? Right, so saved. I did export. I remember doing that now. Even though I remember, I'm just gonna do it anyways again, just to be sure. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. Set the frame, suspension, and the springs, not the bone. The springs there. Yeah, no problem, man. Export file name. KM0460. 8x8. Okay, cool. Texture settings. Texture set. I'm actually going to close out of this. Discard for now. M. Springs susp. Okay. Ream, gas tank, susp, and springs. Brute normally works during the week, so I don't know what time he normally gets on at. And I honestly don't know how often he goes on the UV forums either. I haven't talked to him a whole lot lately, but just a little bit on the weekend, so. Yeah, sorry, I wish I could be more help with that, but. KM0460. I didn't name it exactly the same. Oh well. Oh my lord. I am special. I need to select everything else. And I don't need this susp, I can just do 8x8. Closing, opening. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. Can I put it back? I didn't want to touch that thing. What if I cancel? Okay, good. Pick textures. For my bone, what sizes do I use? So I use 0.18 and 4, and then it, like, everything else is the same. The only thing I changed was the width to 0.18. That's one done. Oh. Hey, Caden, and what do you mean, like, by this setup? Like, which thing specifically? Oh, well, thanks, Tucker. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the support, guys. Are you meaning, like, what setup do I have? I've got an AMD FX 6300, 8 gigabytes RAM. It's on the cheaper side motherboard from Asus. GTX 970 from EVGA, yeah. I got a SanDisk 128 gigabyte SSD and a 2 terabyte hard drive. I'll make this a little darker. Frame is good. Suspension. Okay, that would be the suspension. springs, layers, delete layer. My favorite part about making mods, honestly, it's fun to experiment and to, it's just rewarding to have something that you've built that you can drive around, right? And also just having a custom experience of the game. That's one of my favorite things. Just, yeah, it's fun to learn. Actually, that would be my favorite, is learning how to do it. Repeatedly doing it gets irritating sometimes. That's why I took a pretty long break, but yeah. And what takes the longest? Building the, like, if you build a body or a model from scratch, that normally takes the longest. And normally it's like the fine details that really take forever, because you focus on them so much, right? Getting them positioned exactly correct and getting them to all look correct is one other thing. So, just it takes a long time to focus on those details. So that's the suspension, the springs, the suspension. I want to make sure I've got on the fill layer. Okay, that's all the way up. Good. Texture set, frame. And this fill layer. This is on chrome. What's chrome again? Oh, those don't need to be shiny. They can be like here. Yeah, I completely understand that too, hey, because when I first started, it was really frustrating trying to learn to animate, but once you figure it out, it's super rewarding, and it becomes one of those things you actually kind of like to do once you get used to it. Although on some projects it becomes a huge pain. I still hate doing independent suspension. Really hate it. It just, when you're doing independent suspension, let's say even like, I know there's some 8x8s that all have independent suspension, and that takes forever because that's each axle that needs to be done separately. So now it's twice the work than what I'd normally be doing. Oh, that's the chrome, so I'll just put that to 8. Brute base, the fill layers there, metallics there. Okay, file, export textures, change it from that, Targa. You'd have to, so basically the way that you set up independent is a bone on, like, the same rule as solid axle. You put a bone on each axle, right? But the thing is, when you have independent, the left side and the right side are an axle, like, are separate axles. So you need a bone on the left side and a bone on the right, and then you'd want to move them out to the outsides, right at the hub, instead of keeping them in the center. That's the biggest difference. And then they can share dead bone or they can have the same one. It doesn't really matter. Media, mods, textures, trucks. That's an error. That's a pretty big issue. I just need to unhide though. That. And you can't tell me that it doesn't have a body. Bugger. Open up that wheel. Or that. And then now my springs are still screwed up. Let's go into my meshes. Those are screwed up too. Okay, so my springs are the correct texture file. So was my suspension. Best thing to do is just close it and open it again. Oh, well, those were correct. Let's see if in here is. That matches, so I'm going to assume the other matches too, and especially if the frame is correct. So yeah, the best bet is just to open it again. Still orange. Why are those orange? Okay. Meshes. I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so what I was gonna do? XML file, and this is exactly right. Okay, king dash susp. No, the springs don't use that. They use king dash springs underscore a king susp. I think I can get rid of the capitals. Let's see. No, the capitals are still there. Okay. And why is this all scratched? How's it look in Substance Painter? Well, it's not there at all. So my axles are using this is called SASP. Okay. I won't let you select the white tool. Turn on. Make sure you have edit envelopes turned on, and then also make sure you have this select by vertices checked as well. Let's see. Yeah, and those bolts are also rusty, so this is a completely wrong texture that it's grabbing. Let's see. I might have to clear my cache. That's probably it. I'll just copy this from here to there, copy. Paste that. Rings. Let me know if that works, by the way. Springs. Save. Yes. Okay, those textures are fixed. What in the F is wrong with my suspension? I do prefer that texture more, but no, it didn't work. Do you have the bones you created added in this section here? You just click on add. Select the bones from the list. Okay. Yes. See what it does first. Now, why does it insist on using the wrong texture for the... If I select... Let's see. Frame suspension. That's what that one looks like. Which is not the correct one. Not at all. So it's grabbing... What does that do? I don't know what that does. Okay. Well. Susp. In3S Max. It's called Susp. Let's go to skin and a UV map. And if I were to click on the right button, and look anything like the other one. Awesome, dude. Glad it worked. There's probably some tuning that might need to be done. Maybe not, though. King-Susp. This is really interesting. Just loading the wrong texture completely, it seems like. Let's just delete that. Reload it. The texture is still in there. We'll go completely to fucking XML. That's what I wanted. Another truck and back. Should be untextured. There's not. Do I have susp in here twice? I wouldn't know because I closed it. Oh boy, am I smart. Open XML files. Susp, frame, extras, gas tank, lights, cab, engine, interior, bumper. Oh, let's just put dash. And maybe just because it's texture, we'll put a 3 right in here. Throw a random character in. Reload. Okay, good. So you can't find those textures. And I, of course, you know, I'm retarded and I did another wrong thing. Save and actually throw a 2 in here. Yes, reload. You should give me an error. Yes. If I get you to reload, will you throw those errors again? So that's 2 N S D. Something else is using it. I don't know. Let's go ahead now and delete this. Copy this. It might just be that for some reason it's not. Saving this area, right? I've heard of it before, so yes. Don't give me the old texture, you son of a. Okay, close. Okay. Still using the wrong texture. Alright, you know what? I'm done with you. I'm gonna rename you just by throwing in a 2. Save. You won't know where it is. That's fine. Unless by chance I actually did copy the wrong texture in there, but I doubt it. Media, mods. Textures, trucks. Okay, so it changed to the right textures. So that's a bonus. However, things aren't UV mapped now. That UV map is correct. Let's try exporting once more. This is going to this folder. Yes. Okay. And everything else is just fine, but that looks stretched. How is it looking here? Just fine. Well, it's really strange for the axle to stay UV mapped correctly, but everything else not to be. So, remove the skin. Collapse the UVW, reset the X form, collapse the X form, unwrap UVW, reset the UVWs. Oh, click on the wrong thing about 1,000 times. Same UV map, whatever. Let's try. Design.mat equals n. Why is that way over there? Okay, good. Now it's correct. Okay, good. Everything worked out perfectly. Awesome, that's great. Now, I would consider posting this. Is that not correct? That correct, and neither is that, I don't think. I would consider posting this tonight, but I still have all of the add-ons to fix, so I apologize for the stream going down there for a second. The stream just went down because of the upload here. Yeah, it's not a fan of it. Okay, so I'm gonna need to do the same thing to the frame here. No. Collapse all. Yes. Reset X form. And then collapse 2. Yes. And I actually need to reanimate this now. Which maybe it was the skin causing the issue. I really hope not. I might just have to move the skin into another position if that's the case. Select, edit envelopes, verts, turn this off, bone 1. Select all of this, ellipse effect, bone to that, dead verts, and all that. 1, 3, all that. 1, 4. This. 1, 5. Oh, that reanimated. So I didn't touch the springs at all. So seems like its only issues are being caused when I've done some changes. The UV map should still be the same, but I'll open it up just to check. For some reason this is an editable mesh. I thought everything I had was a poly, but yeah, that all looks correct. Over here, I'll add an edit poly and hope it doesn't affect the UVW. If it does, I'll undo it. Let's just check. No, it's not affecting it. Go into the edit poly. We're going to go preserve UVWs, and there's a couple pieces I forgot to remove. And we'll just pray that it doesn't screw over everything. I remember to remove one of them, but not the other. Okay. Please be the same. Don't screw everything over. Please. Thank you. Thank you for working and being nice for once. Okay. Now this hopefully is my last time exporting this thing for now. For this case at least. And go with this. And that. Still looks a little weird, but everything else is fine. And now if we open up the actual class, the suspension is expected to work. Yes. At least it appears as if it is. Stream's gonna hiccup here a bit. I will just open up Steam. Are you already done? No, you aren't. Why do you flash at me then? Throw that there. Okay, and the stream appears to be back, and I'll resubscribe to the mod. Almost done. There we go. And did you just like oh, you're not here, Tanner, anymore, I don't think. Okay. If you are still here, Tanner, did you did you separate the CV joints and pistons, or no? Did they just not animate properly? And suspension appears to all be working correct. Looks nice too. think these other wheels might need to trim more. No, they seem to be okay actually. While I have this open, I will leg out my computer, apparently. Or just Spintires, yeah. Or just that. Okay. Garage. Okay, media, mods, this one, classes, trucks. Game. Long bed. 8x8 air intake. And down here at the bottom, what am I looking for again? Those are all good. Long bed. I think I put plate right there, didn't I? Yes. Yes, 3. Alright. Well, I'm gonna go. I have to go cut the grass, so I'll probably go stream if I use this in multiplayer tonight, if we do play any. If I don't use this, I probably won't stream, so thanks for watching, whoever did, and yeah, have a good nice day.